Welcome back to Horns High Studios for another episode of 666 Seconds of Murder. That means each one of these videos is less than 666 seconds or 11 minutes and 6 seconds. So let's get to it. Don't want to waste any time, but I'm going to have a contest. I'm not going to tell you when I'm going to give you this contest question, so you got to watch the whole video, but you can win a Murder Metal Mayhem t-shirt just like the one I'm wearing here. All right, let's go to Amityville, talking about this crazy case of body parts scattered about Amityville, New York. So remember, though, these videos are just for informational purposes only. I'm not saying anybody's guilty of anything. These are just opinions and speculation. Now, this is a current story I just read about, and I also saw a really good video on Jewels of All Trades. And I mean, I like to point out the content creators when that's due, and she did a great video on it. The story caught my attention since I was born in the Bronx and raised in that tri-state area, which is New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Now, we've all heard the story of the Amityville horror that was based, on the story that George and Kathy Lutz claimed they bought this house in Amityville, New York, and that they were forced to flee after 28 days of all sorts of paranormal activity going on. And they cited the 1974 crimes in the home involving Ronald DeFeo Jr. against his mother, father, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters. Just a horrible scene. This was the story of Kathy, or the Lutz family, and it was, of course, sensationalized in a book and a movie that spawned a franchise. And their story was later, though, debunked as a hoax. So what does this have to do with the case that I wanted to talk about? Well, it happens in none other than Amityville, New York, which is a nice village on the south shore of Long Island with a population of just under 10,000 people. This is only 20 miles from Gilgo Beach, the spot where it's alleged that Rex Heuermann stashed the bodies of several women. We saw that in the news not too long ago. Now, 4 people were arrested last week when it was discovered that 2 people, a man and a woman, were found hacked up into pieces and strewn about several areas involving 2 parks. Wow. A very shocking crime, but what makes this one even crazier is that the 4 people that did this were released without any bond due to a 2019 law in New York that eliminated cash bail requirements for certain offenses. So now you would think, doing what they did, that these charges would constitute a hefty bail and keeping them locked up until the police can figure this thing out. But they were only charged with hindering prosecution, tampering with evidence, and concealing a human corpse. But seriously, New York, what in the world? You're going to let these 4 people out just walking about until their court date? The law changed in 2019, but, it's a crazy one. Now, some young high school age kid found a man's forearm walking home in a park in Babylon, New York. I can't even imagine something like that. That's crazy. Now, the people charged in this crime were Stephen Brown, Jeffrey Mackey, and Amanda Wallace. They were roommates at the time there in Amityville. And a 4th person, Alexis Nieves, who they say was homeless, but all 4 of them were arraigned and then released. Now, according to Suffolk County's district attorney, charges relating to the mutilation and disposal of murdered corpses are no longer bail eligible. What in the world? They are wearing GPS monitors, and they're not allowed to leave the county. It's very reassuring. What could go wrong in that scenario? They were had to surrender their passports. That doesn't mean a whole lot. And there are citizens there in Suffolk County that I think are in danger with these 4 people running around. Maybe the police are still investigating this and maybe more charges will follow, but it just blows my mind that the laws are such that these four were released without any bail. Now, New York is not the only state that passed laws like this. Illinois was the first state to eliminate cash bail, requiring a judge to decide on a case-by-case basis if violent suspects were to be held in jail or be given a bond. New Jersey, New Mexico, and Washington, D.C. also have similar laws, and Alaska passed one, but then it didn't work out for them and they reversed it. So they are not under that at this time, as far as I know. This just seems really crazy to me. I mean, I think lawmakers are well-intentioned here, but I think this is an overcorrection to a problem. I mean, I get it that the jails are full. I don't know what the answer is, but I just know it's not this. Now, when investigators searched the Amityville home on Railroad Drive where these three suspects lived, they found a horror show. More male remains and a female head and limbs. I mean, talk about just some awful stuff here. And the police discovered a bloody butcher knife, cleavers, and blood all around the home. Now, I guess if you're doing stuff like this, you're probably not too worried about keeping a nice, neat home, but what in the world? And I'm guessing there had to be a horrible smell in this house. I can't imagine it. And you got to think there's some pretty extensive drug use going on here to be doing something like this. The victims, though, were a couple in their 50s from Yonkers, New York, and their identities have not been released yet that I've seen. Now, another girl on her way home from school in Babylon, New York, found more body parts in a different park than the kid that found the forearm. She also found a man's arm. 4 miles away, though, the police found more, and 10 miles out, even more. So what the heck? I mean, these four must have just been dropping body parts all over the place. I mean, not even trying to really hide them or anything. I don't know what they were thinking. It's amazing that in this case, 2 high school kids had the common sense to call the police. Neither were found, as far as I know, in a frozen shock phase like we saw in the Idaho 4 case. Now, the head of a male has not been recovered yet, but days after this, a torso and arms were found in a Bronx apartment during a wellness check by the police. Now, the head and legs were not recovered, and they're still trying to figure out if these two are related, the Long Island and the Bronx situation. No arrests have been made, but they have talked to a person of interest. So, I mean, what a crazy time. Now, I'm glad my mother convinced my dad to get us out of the Bronx in 1973. Now, I have both grandparents and some extended family that lived there for many years, so we were there quite a bit over the years. But I remember, and I've mentioned it before, you know, the summer of Sam, when he was out doing his thing. I remember I was 10 and my grandparents would call us in at dusk because the son of Sam was out there. And that's what got me into true crime. So these two incidents could certainly be related. I mean, while the distance between the Bronx and Amityville is about 35 miles, the couple from Yonkers would be very close to the Bronx because they border each other. So maybe they did know each other. We just don't know. But remember, New York City has a population of 8.5 million and another 7.6 million in Long Island. So that's a lot of people, a major metropolitan area, of course. So it makes the story even creepier to think that it could have maybe been unrelated. You know, I don't know what's worse, but either way, it's awful. So what do you guys think about this? I mean, should we have bail reform here in the United States? I don't know, but I'd love to see what you guys think in the comments below. Now, I did tell you earlier I was going to have a contest to give away one of these cool Murder Metal Mayhem t-shirts, so stick around. I'm almost there. I do want to say thank you, though, to the Horns High Club. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate your support very much. I appreciate all you guys that watch these videos. Now, here's the contest. You've got until midnight on Monday, March 11th, that's 2024, so the day this video comes out, okay? I want you to answer this question and email it to murdermetalmayhem@gmail.com. That's a special contest email I have set up. If you can guess the answer right, only one entry per person, and you have to figure out who is this guy here over my shoulder, this gray, creepy looking old man. Who is that? And if you get the answer right, you may win the t-shirt, because what I'll do is I'll take all the answers that arrive by midnight. I'll do a random number generator and I'll give it away. But I'll give you one hint. He's also from New York. We've been talking about New York tonight. He's also from New York. So thank you very much. Good luck. And we'll see you next time on 666 Seconds of Murder.